Hi everyone, and once again thanks for being with us. We're going to spend a few minutes just talking about Susi grants, what's involved with them, and also having a look at college finances. Common terms include student contribution, which refers to the charge payable to colleges for the cost of student services and examinations each year. That varies from college to college up to a max of €3,000. College fees refers to are made up of three elements: tuition fees, student contribution charge, and compulsory field trip expenses. So there are two types of Susi grant. The first are the fees grant, which are either half fees of €1,500 or full amount fees of €3,000, and these are paid directly by Susi to the college on the student's behalf. The second is the maintenance grant, and this is paid monthly directly to the student over 9 months of the academic year. And the amount is determined by family income. We'll be talking more about that. The baseline adjacent grant is €1,215 and the non-adjacent is €3,025. Adjacent refers to the distance between home and college being under 45 kilometres and the non-adjacent to distances of over 45 kilometres. Also, just to draw your attention there to the fact that Susi opens on April 22nd and closes on July the 8th, and that's a window that has to be paid attention to. So Susi grant refers to Student Universal Support Ireland, and of the 110 or so thousand applications every year, somewhere between 75% and 80% are successful in gaining a full or partial grant. We encourage all students to apply. Even if you're in doubt, it's still worthwhile applying. The lowest you can receive is €1,500, and that is not to be ignored. And depending on your income, you can get an increment of 25%, 50%, 75%, or a full maintenance grant. In order to be an eligible applicant, a student must be studying a full-time approved course in a publicly funded college, must have lived 3 out of the last 5 years in Ireland. The income level we'll be discussing further, the assessment of it, and also the student must be progressing each year through education towards a major level award, level 5, 6, 7 or 8 major award. Note that all students under 23 on the 1st of January 2015 are regarded as dependent for the purposes of a Susi application. So this table shows when and where maintenance and fee grants apply. We can see there in the case of further education that students who study PLCs can apply for a maintenance grant, remembering that fees at this level are only a fraction of the cost of the fees at higher level education. Undergraduates in higher level education can apply for both the maintenance and fee grant. Postgraduates at higher education level can apply for some or all of fees depending on their income. Students from the Republic wishing to study in Northern Ireland can apply for the maintenance grant but not for the fee grants. And students who are studying in Europe can also apply for the maintenance grant and bring it with them there. We'd say a little bit more about income assessment. Gross family income is determined by combining the income of legal guardian or guardians with any earnings of the student. Working siblings, therefore, do not count because they are not the applicant's legal guardians. In some cases, grandparents, aunts, uncles, or a state-appointed person may be the assigned legal guardian. And where parents have separated, income is calculated on the basis of the parent with whom the applicant is living, plus the maintenance paid by the other parent. The eligibility reckoner is a handy calculator for estimating if an applicant is eligible and what level of grant award may apply. However, it shouldn't be taken as gospel. Only the real application will tell the full story, so we encourage students to apply. To get your answer, there is an appeals process. There's also a helpful application guide if you scroll down to the bottom of the Susi homepage, which assists in filling out this extensive online form. So just to put the focus on the process for a moment of creating an online account. You must open an online account with Susi before you can make your grant application. That's at www.susi.ie. You fill in and submit your online application just as you did with your CAO, and you provide complete and accurate information. For this you will need your date of birth, PPS numbers, bank details, your CAO number, and failure to do this will only delay processing your application. So the application process involves making your online application, supplying supporting documentation, receiving a decision on your application, and if successful, grant payments will be made monthly to the student over 9 months, and reminding you that you must reapply each year for your grant. We recommend that students apply as close to the opening date as possible. Don't delay in starting the process. Also remember, the application process doesn't have to be completed in one sitting. The important thing is not to hit that submit button until you are absolutely sure all the information has been entered and everything is correct and ready to go. Now, if you wish to appeal your Susi decision, if your application is refused or you feel the decision is contestable, you have 30 days in which to do so. If supporting paperwork isn't available within that time frame, it's advisable that you lodge the appeal immediately, making the delay in obtaining paperwork known to Susi and requesting, if necessary, an extension of the appeal to 60 days. Change of circumstance. Susi assesses the financial year of 2020 for students applying for the 2021-22 academic year. Susi acknowledges that changes may occur in a family situation within that time frame that may need to be referenced to them. For instance, job loss, family illness, a breakup, any kind of situation that can arise in a family, COVID related or otherwise. Susi needs to be informed about it by the applicant in order for the change of circumstance provisions to be applied and for the grant to be reassessed. Also, we recommend that email is always the best form of communication with Susi. You'll always get a clear response and then you have it in writing should you need it later on. Susi also make provision for earnings that a student may acquire during the holidays. Students in full-time education can have up to €4,500 of their holiday earnings ignored by Susi calculations if they can show that the money was earned during holiday time, not term time, while in full-time education, namely during the 2 weeks at Christmas or Easter and the 3 months of the summer holidays. It's a small thing, but it could make all the difference as to the increment of grant received. Here we have an important summary table that might help us to understand better how Susi works. The first column there shows that maintenance grants are either allocated in full, that's 100%, or at 75%, 50% or 25% increments. Towards the bottom of that column we can see that an applicant not in receipt of the maintenance grant may still receive either a full fees grant, that's €3,000, or half fees grant at €1,500. Turning our attention now to the second and third columns, we can see there that the adjacent rate is calculated at under 45 kilometres from home to college, or the non-adjacent rate is calculated where the distance is over 45 kilometres. Susi use Google Maps and air codes to make that calculation, so they are very black and white, under or over 45 kilometres. Columns 4, 5 and 6 show the adjustments then that are made according to the number of dependents per household, including older siblings still in college. That's column 7 there, shows that there's an extra increment for a sibling or a parent who is still in further education or higher education at the time of the application. Now, just to draw your attention to the bottom row there, where we're talking about the special rate. Well, the special rate, to qualify for that, an applicant must have a gross family income of less than €24,500, and this application must also include a long-term social welfare payment. The full list of the social welfare payments can be found on the Susi website. I'm aware there's a huge amount of information on this table, but just be aware that you can look back over this presentation on the school website afterwards if there's anything you want to remind yourself of. So just to turn from Susie for a few moments and put our focus on the main college expenses. The first one is rent. This is the big one. Whether to live on campus, rent near college, or commute from home. That's a decision that really is important. Many of the universities, ITs and colleges have already made us aware that they will not be returning to normal before next Christmas. A huge amount depends as well on the course that a student has chosen, whether it can be done remotely, whether it involves a lot of lab work or practical hands-on engagement. The question here is how many hours will a student be required to be on site? And this affects the decision of whether or not to rent in Galway, Dublin or Limerick if the hours in the week are very limited. There's no one-size-fits-all here answer. It depends very much on your family situation, on the distance from college, on the quality of transport links and so on. So that's definitely one to think long and hard about. The next one is transport. How long is it going to take you to cover the distance each day between home and college? What are the public transport links like? Are there private transport links? Do you need to be in touch with the bus companies to see what kind of deals are on offer there? Certainly you will need to consider purchasing a student travel card, as that can be a huge help in saving expenses on public transport. Now, the next thing is the expense of IT. Getting a laptop for college is certainly in COVID times has become such a necessity for remote learning. Some of the colleges offer loans, others make old laptops available if students are having difficulty affording a new one. All colleges offer IT spaces in the libraries. They can often be very sought after, can be very busy, and so that's something to consider. Books, stationery and printing all are expensive also, and the big money saver here is the use of library services, and that's something that the smart student will start to avail of very quickly into first semester. Remember also that unlike secondary school, books don't need to be purchased. The book lists that you will get in relation to your courses may only have sections or chapters that are pertinent or relevant to your course material. So learning to find the book in the library or find the article and take what you need and print it off and is a great way of learning to save money, but that involves learning how to use the library services effectively. Medical expenses are also another great cost. Remembering that counselling is free in all colleges and should be availed of. If students are feeling stressed, particularly in first year, don't hesitate to reach out there. Field trips and placements may also require dress codes or course materials like lab coats and so on. Clubs and societies might also involve some extra expenses or weekends away, hopefully as we come back to normal times. And of course, last but not least, grocery shopping. First year students, one of the great challenges of college life is learning to budget and to prepare basic meals. I always encourage students to make use of the student services when they go to college. All colleges offer student services, and most can provide financial assistance to students depending on their particular need. Of course, it's up to students themselves to avail of the services and to seek advice, whether it's around budgeting, whether it's around finding counselling to deal with stress, or whether indeed it's around getting help for academic writing. The Students' Assistance Fund is found in most colleges, so students should investigate what's on offer. Sometimes it's means tested, but at a much higher level than Susie. The amounts on offer aren't massive, but they can make a big difference. Students will also need to find out if they can apply more than once in the academic year, as this varies from college to college. The Student Emergency Fund, the SEF, also allows students to approach student services when the unforeseen happens. It might be a car breakdown, it might be issues with a landlord or with rent, or it might just be a smaller emergency like a prescription that needs to get paid. So whether big or small, they can approach student services with the Student Emergency Fund.